Okay, so now we have a basic geometric structure that we've built, and it doesn't look too interesting at the moment. Of course, we could model this and do various things, but for the moment, because we're just learning about geometry and creating geometry, what we want to do is we want to start adding a little bit of flair to this. So we should see what it's going to look like as an end result, as an end render. So the way to do that is don't worry about any of this stuff. We have a lot of stuff going on here for right now. What we want to do is we want to come up here and we want to click on our render button right here. It looks like a slate that they would slate a movie with. Let's just click on that once and you'll notice that a menu should open. And that menu that opens is going to be called the render view. And it looks like this. So you should have a menu that opens up when you click like that. And right now you can see where it doesn't really look like anything. If I click inside of this render view window, I can click that again and that refreshes. And now you can see what our geometry is going to look like as a finished piece. This just gives you an idea of what it looks like at its current state. Don't worry about a lot of this other stuff up here at the moment. What we want to be concerned with is how we're rendering this. For the moment, instead of Mental Ray, let's just choose Maya Software and go ahead and click on Maya Software. And let's click down here again, and this shows us what Maya's original software would make this look like. So for the moment, let's minimize that so that it goes down into our dock. I know I'm on a Mac, I don't know about a PC, but basically I've just minimized it and put it in my dock. So that's where it is, along with the outliner that we went over in the earlier lesson. And this time we're going to open the hypershade too. So if you come up to your window up here and go to your rendering editors and open up that hypershade, if I click on there, you should get a window that looks something like okay, so if you click on this window, rendering editor, hypershade, you should get a hypershade that looks something like this. So this is where all of the colors and textures and things that you're going to add to your geometry happen. And there's a lot of stuff going on in here too. So at the moment, don't worry about that. Don't worry about any of this stuff, but take a look. There's a lot of different options in this section. And we're going to just sort of stay concentrating on making some different colors for our objects, and then maybe adding a few lights. So for the moment, let's work with the most basic out of all of the Maya shaders. It's a Lambert, and that's basically just a colored gray ball at the moment. So we'll go ahead and click Lambert, and you'll notice that in this window, in the hypershade window, it shows up as being Lambert number 2. And what we're going to do with this Lambert is we're going to make it a different color. So over here in the main Maya interface, let's click on this section right here, and that is going to give us our attributes for this Lambert. So I'm going to move this window over a little bit. And as you can see here, the common material attributes, we're just interested in color right now. So in order to change the color of this Lambert, let's just click right here. It brings up our color chooser. And let's say we do this one as a blue. Okay, we'll give it a nice bright blue. You can change the intensity of the blue to different levels if you just click back and forth here. But for the moment, let's just give it a nice bright blue. And I'm going to go ahead and hit accept. Now you can see where it's got our color right here. We can adjust that blue in its grayscale by moving it up or down. So we have some control there. And that's about all I want to worry about for the moment. Because we've just created this color, we're going to want to now assign it to a piece of our geometry over here. So let's go and minimize the hypershade, and that puts it back down into the dock down here for me. And come over here into our geometry, and let's say pick something that might be interesting as a blue. So I'll come over here to my chooser, and let's make this portion right here. This is our cylinder. And as you see here in the outliner, if we bring that up, when I clicked on that, it shows up as its cylinder. And this is where the 3-button mouse comes in handy, because you're going to need to right-click on the object itself. And the easiest way when you right-click on an object that's active like this, if we created another material, I'm going to come down here into Assign Existing Material. And you'll notice that we started out with Lambert 1, which was just a gray, and now we're going to move down to Lambert 2, and we're going to leave our mouse over there, leave the cursor there, and let up. As you can see over here, the texture shows up on this object. Now, if your texture doesn't basically this is a color, so it's just differentiating it. Maya just differentiates it as a different color. So let's go ahead and minimize our outliner again, and let's create another color. So let's open up our hypershade, and in the hypershade we're going to basically click on Lambert again, and that would be a left mouse click on the Lambert. Generally it'll drop into your work area. Basically that's where we're going to do our work. And let's move this Lambert over just a little bit. Since we've created this Lambert already, we could come up here into the graph and choose clear graph. That would basically clear this and put them up here into the material section that we've already created. But we're not going to do that at the moment. Let's just click on here, and let's make this Lambert 3. As you click on there, you'll notice that over here in the attributes for Lambert 3, you'll see that we have a color choice again, and it's by default gray. So we'll go ahead and click that color, and in this case let's maybe make it a nice kind of an orange color like that. Alright, that's very different, so I'll go ahead and accept. Now you can see where that's our color, and we're going to minimize the hypershade once again, and now let's assign this Lambert 3 to, perhaps this object. I'll go ahead and click that object, the torus, and I'm going to right mouse click, and don't worry about any of these other options. We're just going to go down here to these material options. Assign Existing Material. Not the new material. These are pre-made materials that right at the moment we're not concerned with. So Assign Existing Material, and let's do that Lambert 3 that we just created. And now you can see where it basically is that orange. Let's do a little bit more work on this. Let's open up the hypershade again, and this time let's clear this graph. I don't want to see this Lambert 3 or Lambert 2. So if you go up to your graph menu, you can just clear the graph, and basically that leaves you with those two up here, and they are now existing materials. Okay, so let's create another Lambert. This Lambert, if we click on that, you should see it in the Lambert 4 tab here, and we'll give that Lambert number 4 a color of, say, maybe like a green. Okay, so let's do a green for that one, and we'll leave it kind of bright. I'll hit accept. Now that's our color, and we want to assign that to, say, this piece of geometry right here. Let's go ahead and make that green. Let's go to Assign Existing Material, and you'll notice that's a right mouse click and then Lambert 4, and that's our Lambert 4 existing material. And let up. There you have it. You have a green and let's do another color. Let's come over here into our create another Lambert. You'll notice that when you click on that, it will show up as a Lambert 5. Now this Lambert 5, we're going to make a color, so let's choose something more like maybe a, let's see what this area looks like up in here. Okay, maybe something in the middle there. I'll just hit accept. That's our Lambert 5. So let's come back and assign that Lambert 5 to the sphere. So assign existing material, Lambert 5, and let up. And there it is. And we're going to create one more. Let's do the graph and clear the graph and put another Lambert in there. So I will click on the Lambert and let's click its attributes there and maybe do something kind of dark gray. Blackish dark gray. Well, now let's stay on the lighter side. Okay, and let's hit select. Now this Lambert 6 we should maybe attach to the piece of geometry that doesn't have it just has the default Lambert 1. So let's go back down into Lambert 6. Okay. Now you'll notice that you always have a choice in these materials of an existing material, which is your Lambert 1. And this by default is the color of gray that's always assigned to the object. So whenever you open up a Maya project and start creating geometry, it will always be assigned and labeled this Lambert 1. It does show up over here in the hypershade as being Lambert 1 right here. It's best just to leave the Lambert 1 initial default shader alone. Always leave it that gray because you can always assign a different color to the Lambert 1, but really you want that as a default color. So if you were to switch this, everything that you create will, if it were green, it will be a starting object that will have that green color to it. So for the most part, leave Lambert 1 alone. Okay, so we created some different colors for our geometry. It's all on there now. Let's go to the hypershade and minimize that. And let's click on a part of the geometry over here. As you can see, when I click on the sphere, it shows up over here as having a Lambert 5 as a shader. And if I click on here, this tells me that this sphere has this many subdivisions and its height and various things. For the moment, we're not going to be concerned too much about things over here. We're just going to sort of look at them. So if you look at them, you can tell that the Lambert 5 material is right on there. And if we want to make a quick adjustment to that, we could come over here and say maybe make it a little bit darker, a little bit lighter, and let's leave it like that. Okay, so now what does this look like after we've applied some color to it? Well, if you come down into the render view, I've got mine in my dock, and I'm going to basically open up the render view, and let's click on the render button right here. You can find this in the render view, and you can also find it right up here. It's the same thing. This basically, if you click on this, will open up a render view of the object. So while I'm in the window, I'll just click there, and now it refreshed itself, and you can see where we have the startings of some color and some differentiation in the object, and it's looking different than if it just had its default gray shaders on. So there it is. So now that we've got some basic colors, this is how it operates all the time with Lamberts. They're your most basic shading elements. So we've created 6 different ones and added them on there, and that's basically how it's done. So you'll get used to using those Lambert shaders. They come in, greatly in use almost in everything you do in Maya. So the Lambert is sort of a non-reflective, standard color, kind of like a paint. So there you have it. And we'll go on to the next with texturing and adding in some lights, and we'll make this come alive. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you've learned something, and have a good one.